Hello and welcome to the 2020 election between Donald Trump and Cory Booker. If you don't know who Cory Booker is, he's the Democratic senator of the state of New Jersey. He is rated an average Democratic candidate for 2020 and is expected to run. So we're going to start off with these safe states for Donald Trump. The state of Utah, let's change it to safe and toss up: Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, except that 2nd Congressional District, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, and Alaska, and I could actually see that 2nd Congressional District as safe in this matchup. For the safe states for Cory Booker, the states of California, Illinois, Hawaii, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Missouri, and New York, and last, Vermont. We're going to move into the safe, likely, and leaning states. The state of Texas would go into the likely column. Cory Booker is not too good appealing to the Hispanic voters. He more appeals to the African American voters. And I could also see the state of Arizona. This is actually, I think, the first prediction I've actually made that Arizona is in the likely column. I could see Oregon and Washington in the likely column for the Democrats. I could see this because I could see Washington because he is seen as a corporate Democrat now. Before he was not, and this is starting to turn off progressives. He was a decently high-rated candidate beforehand, and I think this really affected him. And I'm not saying he's a corporate Democrat. I've not actually read much on that, but I've seen that many people are showing him as a corporate Democrat. And they see Hillary Clinton lost, and they blame it on because she's corporate, which I could see why. And they say a progressive would actually be the best candidate to run for 2020. I could see the state of New Mexico getting closer to a lean column, but I could still seeing it going like 8% into the likely column. And I could see the states of Delaware, his home state of New Jersey, Connecticut, and Rhode Island going into the likely column. And to the 1st Congressional District. This is actually also going to be slightly closer, but I could still see a 12 to 13% win for Cory Booker there. It's just slightly closer. For Trump, I could also see him win that 2nd Congressional District as a likely, just like in 2016, and also the states of Iowa and Ohio. These actually will be, I think, a little closer than 2016, but in this case, I could see it going around 7% in Iowa, and Ohio, I could actually see it expanding to a 10%. Trump's actually doing pretty well in the state of Ohio, especially in the midterm elections. The governor stayed as a Republican. They kept all their seats. And I think that Trump will do very well there in the 2020 election. Excuse me. I could see... Is there any more likely states that I could see? I don't think so. So, Cory Booker, 135 safe, 53 likely. Donald Trump, 126 safe, and 74 in the likely column. Donald Trump leads but there's still many states up, which equals to 150 electoral votes. I have likely leaning in toss up on there. In the state of Colorado, I could see this edge out for him around a 3%, 2.5%, because of his turnoff to Hispanic voters, especially in the state of Arizona, which I could see it around a just over 5% for Donald Trump, just edging into that likely column. And also in the state of Virginia, I think it would be closer, but it's showing Democratic tendencies, and I don't think Trump will win this state against almost any candidate that runs against him, except possibly even Nancy Pelosi, but I am pretty sure she will not run. That would be the worst, one of the worst candidates the Democrats could run for 2020 if she were to. Now Booker leads by 10 electoral votes. I could see the state of New Hampshire edge out for him with, even though there's not that many minority voters there, I could see him being able to edge it out to Trump. Trump's not too popular there and did not do well in the midterm elections, so I could see it going to him, to Booker. In the Maine at large, I could see this edging out as well. A little closer, I could see it 1.5% to 2%. In 2016, it was 2.5%. With that second congressional district going to the safe column in the first, and to the likely, I could see it very, very narrowly going to Booker. It's kept basically its Democratic name, but it's just gotten closer in the 2016 election and probably in the 2020 election as well. In the state of Nevada, I'm actually surprised to say this, but I think it would edge out to Donald Trump, even though it's showing more Democratic tendencies, with Booker turned off by the Hispanic voters and some progressives to come out and probably even vote independent. I could see Trump edge it out in the state of Nevada, and I could also see Trump taking Georgia. This would be actually closer, I think, than most of the swing states, and same with North Carolina, but I'm going to get to that. Georgia, I could see very narrowly, probably 3% to Trump, and that's a 3% swing, and that's pretty large in a state that voted 10% Republican in 2012. So that's a complete, a 7% shift. And in the state of North Carolina, I could see this edging out. With the higher African-American population, it's just a slightly more conservative state than any of the other swing states, and I would actually not consider this completely a swing state. I could see it as if there was a tilt column on here, I'd put it in tilt. It usually tends to go more to the Republicans and only went to Obama and I think Jimmy Carter in the last couple elections, and those were the last two Democrats to win the state. In the state of Florida, I could also see Donald Trump winning this even larger than before because of the Hispanic voters being turned off, and there's not a huge amount of African American voters there. Trump did very well there in the midterm elections, flipping the Senate seat, and even though he lost 2 House seats, it stayed even in the governor race. I think that Trump's going to do very well there in the 2020 election. In the state of Minnesota, though, I could see this going to Booker by a decent margin, I think 4%. And I think this is basically the most out of the main Rust Belt states that would go to him by a 4% margin. There's not too many African American voters in Minnesota as much as the other states. It just leans more liberal than all of these except the state of Illinois. I could see this edge out for him but in the case of Michigan as well, with the larger city voters and being able to get the African American vote out there, there's actually a pretty large amount of African American voters that I think that Booker could get out there and would flip the state. It comes down to the states of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and I think Donald Trump would win the state of Wisconsin. I say this because in the midterm elections, if you took all the Republican votes in the House election there and the Democrat votes, there was about 80,000 more Republican votes there than Democrat, and Trump got only 25,000 more Republican votes than Hillary. I could see Trump do decently well here and probably get even, I could say 50,000. I think he could take it up from 25,000 to 50,000, maybe even 70,000. And in the state of Pennsylvania, I could call this for him as well. Even though Booker could get out the Hispanic vote, I don't think he could appeal to those African American vote, and I don't think he could really get out the Hispanic voters there. Even though there's not many, it would basically pull down the chances of Pennsylvania to going to him. So, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My goal for this month is to hit 30 subscribers. We're currently at 28, so we need 2 more to finish for the month. And by next month, I hopefully can end off with 40. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notified when I have new videos coming out. And if you have any suggestions or new video ideas, just put it in the comments below. Thank you for watching.